To see the fully uncut version of this video, head over to patreon.com/Jonjo Lyons.
What's that like to live deliciously? Chaos reigns.
Please don't scream.
Nah, Sid, don't you blame the movies. Movies don't create psychos. Movies make psychos more creative.
How's it going? My name is Jonjo Lyons, and today I'm here to present to you my review for Spaceship Terror. Written and directed by Harry Tuchinski, Spaceship Terror stars... all of these. Open your mind to a horrifying world of cat and mouse as 5 women and 1 injured man find terror beyond their wildest nightmares. How's it going, my beautiful braless babes from outer space? It's that time again. Time to check out yet another terrible horror movie. The only difference being, this one takes place in space! It's a space slasher movie. I've never done one of those before. As the synopsis explained, what we have here is 5 women and 1 injured man trying their best to survive aboard a ship while being chased by a killer who looks like he's straight out of an episode of Red Dwarf. Also, little known fact about me, I love Red Dwarf. I think my favourite episode has to be Marooned. It's just like a stage play, and as you lot know, I love shit like that. Anyway, this movie has terrible effects, even worse acting, and a writer who's clever enough to put in the plot point that the ship is constantly getting hotter. You'll see why that's important. This really feels like it was supposed to be a film for mummies and daddies, but then they took out all of those scenes and replaced them with death scenes. Some movies I cover I find really hard to get through, let alone write a script for, and this was not one of those ones. Will any of these extremely talented women survive the intergalactic horror? Let's find out. But before we get into all of that, I just want to remind you, you can see this video completely uncut and early at patreon.com/Jonjo Lyons for as little as $3 a month. $3! That's the difference between you getting a coffee and me not having to go down to the research facility to give sperm. I only get paid $3 a go because it's just riddled with AIDS. Anyway, for the $3 you get the uncut reviews, Patreon exclusive reviews that can't be on YouTube anymore, and access to the Discord, which is just a wonderful place filled with really surprisingly wholesome people. Also, as you may know, my short film is currently going to film festivals all around the world. We've won 2 awards so far and screened at the Dead Northern Horror Film Festival this past weekend, where it went down really well. If you want to help me pay submission fees to get it into even more film festivals, then please consider going and joining on the Patreon. Every penny that I make that doesn't go into bills goes straight back into the film, so if you can help in any way, it would be massively appreciated. Thank you. But anyway, I'm in the mood to heat some ladies up, so let's not waste any more time. Get ready to face the terror! The Space Terror. This is Spaceship Terror. What a terrible title. The movie begins with our title card, then cuts straight to the action as this man has his leg cut off. We then see a pile of hands and feet over the opening credits, which is a fantastic sign. The credits continue with all sorts of wonderfully gory imagery, then cut to the killer doing more chopping when an alarm goes off. We see this woman is also on the ship with him when we cut to our main cast having a bit of an issue in their ship. Well, it's good to see they didn't waste any of the budget on the CGI. More for the gore. The killer, Captain Terror, because of course that's his name, locates the women's distress beacon and decides to go in for a closer look. The stowaway watches through a window as the ship slowly approaches the planet. The women and man escape the crashed ship when Laura asks Kelly for the binocs as she spots Terror's ship coming in for a landing. They go to meet it as I thoroughly enjoyed this spaceship model when it lands. The women arrive where Kelly notices the ship's name Terror and wonders why someone would name it that, and Laura questions where all the crew are. Jeanette then says they've got to get Hardwick in fast, as apparently that tiny splodge of blood on his head means he hasn't got long left. They open the hatch and Laura goes in to investigate, even calling out for help on a ship named Terror.
Hello? Can anyone hear me? We crashed here on the planet. We need your assistance.
After a minute, she tells the others she thinks it's okay and they enter, remarking on how hot it is and how creepy it is. That's when Laura tells them to shush as she hears someone coming. And unfortunately, this new member of the crew doesn't have any good news for them.
No, you just don't get it, do you? You're on a dead ship. Oh my God, you're
Well, we're then introduced to everybody properly.
My name's Chris. Okay, that's great, Chris. My name's Laura. This is Kelly, Janet, Maya, and Annie.
While I appreciate the help with names, Laura, it would be a lot easier if two weren't standing directly behind you. But I think I've got it. Chris, Laura, Kelly, Janet, Maya, and Annie. Oh, and Hardwick. Also, I think I like Kelly the best. Although, she might be a little bit too tall. With all the introductions done, Laura again asks their new friend to help Hardwick, so she leads them away. Laura and Janet have a little moan at each other about how weird this all is as the killer breathes heavily from the shadows. Cut to the gang arriving at the medbay where Chris is overjoyed to have found some food. She explains she's been receiving food and water once a day, but that stopped 3 days ago.
The ship has only been giving you this to eat once a day?
Shh! Careful what you say. He's listening. He's always listening. He watches us too. See?
I love the way the characters dip into frame there. It makes me question if some of the elements of this film are intentionally comedic. They ask Chris how long she's been here and she doesn't know, but did mark down the days, which works out to 2 years. While I wonder if she's had the same underwear on for the last 2 years, the ship suddenly takes off. Maya then pops open the med kit and tends to Hardwick when Laura makes a plan.
Okay. First, we get Hardwick somewhere he can lay down comfortably.
That would be nice.
And then we're gonna make contact with the person running the ship.
Oh, don't worry. They'll be contacting you real shortly.
Cut to this mean-looking descending from the ceiling and giving Hardwick an actual injury. Laura then turns to the TV demanding to know what the killer wants, with Terror replying their attention. Laura then tells him they need to get Hardwick down, but he refuses, leading to this excellent line delivery.
You can't expect us to stand here while he's hanging there on the wall moaning and asking for help!
Kelly continues to give the killer lip, so he pops one more arrow in Hardwick and explains their rations as well as how they're gonna play and how he's gonna do things to them. Also, the temperature is rising and the metal surfaces will soon burn them, or something. He then advises they talk to Chris to find out how to survive. Laura looks at Chris's necklace when she says she took it off her mother's body before Terror killed her all the way to death, then explains he loves inflicting pain on women. What? She then says it's basically hide and seek, with torture being the prize if you're caught. Also, there's traps in the halls and the killer is too big to overpower themselves, so they're Anyway, let's go back and check on Hardwick. Jesus, that xenomorph is spinning like a mother. Actually, this is the killer's drill, and that sight causes Annie to run out of the room screaming. Laura then remembers the traps going after her and doing a little dance. Annie calls out for her as this timer counts down and Laura finds her with her hand stuck in a trap. Thankfully, Laura manages to get her free and they head back to the medbay. Here the ladies are doing their hair and Chris is looking feral. They then let Annie and Laura back in, where she goes to Chris for more tips, where she finds out both the medbay and bathroom are safe zones for them and there's an escape pod. But you need a key code to enter it. How do you get this key code? Every time he kills someone, he gives you a number. So it looks like 5 need to die this time. Janet asks Chris why she hasn't escaped already, and she says after getting the last number, you have 5 minutes to input it, otherwise it all resets. And for some reason, even with the full code, she just keeps it up.
She was just dangling by her hair, looking up at me. I couldn't think, my mind went blank.
Then what happened?
Oh God, I did things. Terrible things, things no one should have to go through.
It's okay, stop.
Ah, I understand now. It is a bit of a stressful situation, isn't it? I mean, I can barely get the key in the front door when I'm desperate for a After hearing all of this, the women all comment on how hot it is and start stripping off. Then it turns out Annie is taken off again, so Laura and Janet go after her. Cut to Annie in the hall when the timer starts running down. She makes it into this room as Janet and Laura bicker once more before setting off. Back inside her hiding place, Annie finds a new friend. face! She then runs out into the hall just as the killer arrives. Terror drags Annie away as Janet and Laura have a little cuddle. Little cuddle on the floor there. And then we cut back to them arriving at the med bay. After their sweaty floor cuddle.
You've got her. You've got Annie.
I know. We saw full things on the screen.
Chris pricks her finger to write the number down when on the TV we see Annie being taken care of. First by putting a tube on her hand. Oh, that's disappointing. Cut to Laura chilling in the bathroom sorting out her mush. The killer taunts her over the speaker saying he has something she'll enjoy very much as the bath starts running and he offers her to take a dip. She tries to leave the room but is unable to as the killer reminds her she must cooperate. She gets in the bath and strips off as instructed as the killer breathes heavily over the speaker doing what I'm sure we can all imagine he's doing. Janet and Maya then check on her as they go to put Hardwick's body in another room. Back with Annie on the table, we see she's still alive and getting stitched up when we cut to Laura entering the medbay. She advises the others try and save some water for themselves when Kelly has a meltdown.
Blood! It's everywhere!
Favourite actor in the film by far.
It's alright!
Well, maybe not by far. Maya's pretty great too. Janet then returns as Laura starts giving a rousing speech about them having to get weapons. They ask Chris if there's a radio at the front of the ship, but she says it's all been smashed. Janet then asks if she saw any sci-fi batteries or coils, to which Chris responds maybe. She doesn't know. Janice wants all this shit so she can build a rad gun. Or at least, I think that's what she said. So they formulate a plan and convince Chris to come with them, seeing as she knows the ship's layout. They then tell Chris about the gun, and she says she thinks she saw batteries on the bridge, so they take Mia's jumpsuit bags and set off. Cut to Annie having a shit time. And then to our heroes walking the halls. Chris directs them when Kelly comes up behind with the flashlights they forgot and steps on a possible trap. Everyone panics, not knowing what to do as Chris is unable to identify it. Trap or no trap? Well, it doesn't take long for the answer to be revealed. Good lord, that was brutal. Poor Kelly. At least she's not too tall for me anymore. Anyway, Kelly gets sucked down this hole while Chris tries to go through this door with no success. With the time ticking, they force Chris to show them where the bridge is. Cut to them in a super steamy hallway when Laura nearly triggers another trap. They manage to open the elevator door, seriously freaking out Janet when Chris reveals there might have been another way.
Oh, what? Nothing. I just pushed a button with that thingy, that's all.
I guess we could have gone the other way.
Are you serious?
You know, I'm starting to think Chris might not be on the up and up. Either that or this is just a poorly written and performed character, which could also be possible. They finally make it to the bridge and start collecting their bits, getting everything they need when the doors close behind them. They then officially run out of time and decide to take Chris's other route, the vents. Inside they go down a ladder one by one, very, very slowly before reaching the bottom and finding nothing murdery. Janet turns on the light, causing this hole to start opening up, with the woman finding it quite challenging to jump over, especially Chris.
Oh my god! Where are you? Chris, say something! Where are you?
Laura then tries to leave, but Janet stops her, saying they need to help Chris. And Janet really needs to make up her mind. In one scene she loves Chris, then she hates her, then she loves her again. Look, Chris is weird, you just met her, she may be on the side of the killer, and she's in a f***ing hole. Leave her! In the end, they go with Laura's suggestion when they find Kelly all strung up.
Don't come any closer!
What?
If you step closer, the walls will close in on me!
For this game, all they've got to do is hit that green button. Piece of piss. You got this, Laura! don't got this. Also, I think Kelly's a bit too skinny for me now. I don't think we were ever destined to be together.
I can't go in there. I can't go in there.
Cut to the medbay as the survivors are let in. They share the bad news with Maya and note down the next number when Chris pops up on the monitor about to be shocked. Janet then starts putting the gun together as Laura gives Maya a pep talk. That's when Janet says they f***ed up and forgot electrical wire, so Laura has to go out and get some. In the hall, the countdown clock starts up once again as Laura reaches for the wire. She manages to pull some out, but looks up to see the killer standing right there in front of her. With the timer still going, he doesn't shoot her, instead allowing her to get back to the medbay. Cut to space and then to poor Annie, who's completely f***ed at this point. Back with our heroes, they've completed the gun, which seems to work great.
And fire. It worked. It worked. This is fantastic. This is good. I have a weapon.
Janet does mention the battery and their lack of rods being an issue, so they'll have to make every shot count. Kristen comes up on the monitor again and Janet suggests going after her.
If it were me, I would want someone to come for me.
I think we can arrange something, Maya. The survivors leave and we get another scene of them aimlessly walking through dark corridors for a bit. The film is slightly repetitive in that regard. Maya makes the mistake of watching the TV too long and gets got with Janet chasing after them and leaving Laura alone. She quickly returns as they work out now they have a weapon, they're not getting a timer, meaning he's changing the rules because he's scared. They then crack on as Maya is brought into the playroom and gets her throat opened right the f*** up in front of Chris. Oh god, the gape of it! Maya did not deserve that at all! Also, some of you may look at the spelling of her name and say, that's pronounced Mia. I thought so too until they said her name in the f***ing film. Cut back to Janet and Laura, who is uncharacteristically going to pieces. They do more searching and bickering when Janet unfortunately catches one to the back. And then loses her head. Which is sad because she was basically the second best character in the entire film. The killer writes the number on the wall with her head before chucking it when Laura finally shoots him and he doesn't enjoy it.
You mother asshole.
She then looks at all the blood in Janet's body leaving when she reloads and gets worryingly close before taking back Chris's necklace. Instead of putting the next pipe into his head at close range, she walks off, finding Annie is again completely f***ed. Annie tells her to kill her because she's completely f***ed, but Laura instead gives her a knife and buggers off. The killer then goes after Laura and Annie finally passes away. Seemingly the most innocent, but went through the most hell. Brutal. Cut to Laura doing her best Ripley impression when she gets to the escape pod. She enters the numbers but struggles with the last one when the killer turns up. He taunts her saying he's gonna rip her tits off and other such lovely things when she remembers and gets through the door before giving the killer a kiss goodbye in the form of a rod to the eye. She then books it to the escape pod, passing a bit of tape on the ladder I assume was there to hide the name brand. Twice. The killer tries to sabotage the pod but gets himself roasted as Laura flies away. She then calls for help and is answered pretty quickly by a nearby ship. She's told there'll be about 6 hours and Laura finally relaxes when the film comes to an end. The end! Well, that was loads of fun, but poor Chris. Knowing her, like, the killer probably survived. Maybe Laura can double back around and pick her up. Yeah? Maybe. Spaceship Terror is an odd duck. It's a slasher movie set in space that combines elements from so many things I love that it's hard not to enjoy. That being said, it is pretty awfully made in some areas. The story is simple enough with a team of women's ship crash landing on a random planet. They're then picked up by the mysterious Spaceship Terror, which just so happens to be captained by a mass murdering maniac, and the fun begins. Hide and seek with a terrifying killer as the seeker. It was also a nice touch the killer increased the temperature, forcing the women to get undressed. That being a plot point made me fully believe this script once had other scenes in it. On the downside, I really would have loved to find out even the smallest bit of backstory for the killer. Was he always the captain when the ship first set off and went insane? Did he board the ship already a killer and take over? I guess it doesn't matter if you're just here for the blood and underwear, but I wanted to know more. Onto the characters, everyone is awful apart from the killer, who's hamming up a storm. The worst performances by far come from Kelly and Maya, with the most passable being Laura. Even with that weird heel turn into her falling to pieces for like one scene. But yeah, the killer is having the most fun here and is the most convincing. As I said in the intro, the performances feel straight out of a movie for mummies and daddies, if you know what I mean. Next is the gore, and I was pleasantly surprised. I really thought this one was just going to be stabs and boobs, but instead we get some messy torture, severed limbs, blood splatter, a cut off head, and the funniest person getting squished scene I've ever witnessed. Of course, almost none of it looks real, having the same digital gore effects as Grave Mistake, a terrible zombie movie I covered a while ago. But in my opinion, the attempt is more than enough. Well done, team. Production-wise, this film is pretty brutal, and the biggest offender is the visual effects. Every 3D model they use in the film is awful looking, with some shots resembling one of those FMV games from the 90s. Especially the shot I'm showing now and the shot of Kelly being crushed. They obviously did so much better in other areas and worked with what they could, but it is hilarious at times how bad things looked. And then there's the sound, which is just edited really poorly. Someone would be breathing deeply and that would sharply cut when they moved to a new angle. It makes me wonder if the audio was filmed in camera on set and then just pieced together. It almost certainly wasn't, but really does give that feel. In the end, spaceship horror is a surprisingly great time. It never bored me, even with the repeat scenes of walking down corridors, and the gore was shockingly violent. It's a bit of Saw by way of Red Dwarf with terrible acting, and I absolutely love that. Plus, for the last time, turning up the heat was a great idea. Track this space oddity down immediately. So that was my review for Spaceship Terror. What do you lot think? For all the reasons stated above, again, I really enjoyed this film. I enjoyed it a lot and just really wish I'd seen it when I was younger. Not that much younger, this came out in 2011. And our poor, beautiful Kelly being crushed to death was definitely a highlight. Speaking of which, if you want to see Annie have the worst afternoon ever completely uncut and early, go over to patreon.com/Jonjo Lyons. There you can find the uncut version of this review, plus others with more stuff being added every single week. We got the uncut reviews, Patreon exclusive reviews, slasher comic breakdowns, and the Discord. And all that could be yours for as little as $3 a month. You can pledge more, I really appreciate it, as I need that extra money to send Better Anything all over the world. Again, we're entering as many film festivals as we can, and to do that, we need money to submit, so please, if you can help in any way, let me know. I cannot believe how well the film's doing and also the support I've had back from you, so I just want to say thank you once again. None of this would be possible without you. Oh, and speaking of Patreon, here's the Patreon shout out, the thing I've been promising for months. Look at all these wonderful names here. Such good people. Good people. Nice. I didn't write anything in preparation from this. In fact, I only just remembered that I had to do it, so this is satisfying. So that's it for another week. Like the video, leave a comment, and click subscribe if you haven't already. My name's Jonjo Lyons, and I was kidding about Kelly being too skinny. Just scoop up what's left of her, and I'll find a way to f*** it. See you next time.